This is task 3C, and in a moment we'll start looking at how we're actually going to go about it. But first of all, just want to introduce it. And the first thing I'm going to say is this is a hard task. Similar to one in the real coursework, it's only worth 2 marks, 2 marks out of 80. And there are other tasks after this that are worth a lot more marks and involve a lot less work and are a lot easier to complete. So you may at this point want to stop the video and say, okay, I'll come back to this task later, because you can do. The only things that are dependent on it are the user guide and the menu, but that's fine because the user guide you can just write about what would happen, because it's a case of just clicking on a button to open the report. And the menu, well, you just have a button that is there but actually does nothing. It's only got to be printed, so it doesn't matter. So first of all, do you really want to do this at this moment, or do you want to leave it till last, or maybe not even do it at all? Because in your real exam, in the actual exam that you're going to do, 2 marks are worth a lot more than 2 marks here, because it's 60% rather than 40%. So a bit more revision could get you more marks than you're going to get in this bit. Anyway, let's have a look at what they want to do. So the Campervan hire company would like to see a report of any campervans they currently own that have not had any upgraded equipment in the last 4 years. The report should be grouped by campervan, that's the easy bit, and show lists of all equipment installed for each campervan in order of date of installation. So the order of date of installation is another easy bit. It's this bit that's really hard. Report any campervans they currently own that have not had any upgraded equipment in the last 4 years. Now the temptation is to say, okay, well, let's just have a look at all the campervans that haven't had any installations in the last 4 years, all the equipment. But the problem with doing that is that a campervan may have had equipment installed 7 years ago and may have had more equipment installed 3 years ago. And so although it shows up as not having equipment installed 7 years ago, and therefore might look like it needs to be in the report, if it had equipment installed or upgraded 4 years ago, then it's going to show up in, it's not going to, you've got a conflict, haven't you? So what we've actually got to do is we've got to go around this quite a long way round. First of all, we need to find the caravans that have had upgraded equipment in the last 4 years, because that's the only thing we can know for certain, those that have had it in the last 4 years. Once we know that, okay, we can then find all the currently owned campervans that are not in that list, and that will tell us which campervans need to be included in the report. Then it gets a bit more difficult, because that will only show us the campervans. We then need to link to the installations, and we need to link to the equipment. That's 2 further stages along. Let's start by looking at the first bit, which is the opposite of what we're being asked for, and that is a list of all campervans that have had upgraded equipment in the last 4 years. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a query, and we'll do a query in design view, and we're just going to look at the installations and the campervans. So I'm going to add campervan, and I'm going to add installation. Okay, now we're going to need the campervan ID because we're going to need that for linking later on. Might as well add the registration because it just gives us some information to go by, but it's not actually going to be essential later. And then we need to look at the installation date because we need to be looking at 4 years ago. And we also need to look at the type of installation because we only want to look at those that have had upgraded equipment in the last 4 years. And then we're going to look at those that haven't had upgraded equipment in the last 4 years. So our first criteria is quite simple, and that is upgraded. Let's just make sure that works so far. That shows us all the equipment, all the installations where there's an upgrade in the last 4 years. Some campervans are repeated, as we'd expect. I'm going to just save this as we go along. I'm going to call this upgraded last 4 years. Okay, now comes the installation date. The installation date needs to be within the last 4 years. So I want to see campervans that have had upgraded equipment within the last 4 years. So I'm going to first of all find out when 4 years ago was, and that is to use date add. I'm going to use YYYY, which means I'm going to add years. I'm going to subtract 4 years minus 4 from today's date. So what that will do is that will subtract 4 years from today's date. So take that 4 years ago, that gives us 4 years ago today. So I'm doing this on the 4th of January 2017, so that says to me the 4th of January 2013. So the installation date needs to be after or equal to that date, because it needs to be within the last 4 years. Now let's have a look. All of these are within the last 4 years, and they're all upgraded equipment. So that is now showing me the campervans that I don't want to include on the list. The next video tutorial is going to take you through showing how we get the reverse of that.